and spontaneous.
Well, it's not just about our cars, but the country's massive high-speed rail network is also turning electric. Let's bring back Rhea, who recently traveled from London to China to experience this engineering marvel firsthand. So she's joining us now. Rhea, tell me about your first impression of China's high-speed rail.
I appreciate for Chinese audiences, it's probably going to sound pretty crazy to hear someone talking about the shock of stepping on board a high-speed train for the first time. But for me, visiting the country for the first time and exploring much of it on high-speed rail, what struck me straight away was the smoothness of the journey, that you're traveling at incredible speeds, but often you don't even realize that until you look at the onboard ticker, because the journey itself is just so smooth, so quiet. I was able to balance my fan on the seat in front of me without it falling while traveling at speeds of over 250 kilometers per hour without any issue at all. I was really struck by that.
Well, thank you, Rhea, for sharing your insight. The transition to clean energy isn't just happening on our roads. It's taking to the skies. I just hopped into one of those new flying cars called eVTOL to see the future transportation.
This is the world's first and China's only passenger eVTOL certified with all 3 key licenses. And today, even for someone like me who can't fly the plane, all it takes is stepping inside to experience the future taxi.
You don't have to take any flight lessons. You don't have to get your license. And this is how the Chinese engineer imagined about the future of transportation.
In 2024, China set up a new department under the NDRC, the country's powerful agency that plans long-term economic strategy, turning futuristic experiments into a coordinated national agenda.
So behind the push to fully electrify transportation is something much bigger. It's the energy revolution. Well, according to the think tank Amber, a historic milestone was reached for our world this year. Global renewable energy generation has officially overtaken coal, and China is the engine room of this revolution. In the first half of the year, China accounted for 55% of all new solar and a staggering 82% of all new wind power globally. And for the first time, wind and solar combined have overtaken coal as China's primary energy source.
Speaking of the wind and solar power, I noticed that China is also releasing a massive plan in the area of Gobi Desert, the desert and arid region, because these areas, they are characterized by, like, they're not that populated, but they're actually rich in a lot of these natural resources, as in the sun and the solar power and wind power.
Exactly.
So people are building and installing a lot of these photovoltaic panels and also wind turbines for the reason, of course, stabilizing the electricity supply and also for some ecological reason.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. In China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, solar farms are doing more than just generating power. They're revitalizing the land.
1,000 kilometers away from the nearest ocean, but here in the small county in the mountains of Xinjiang called Nileke, there's an ocean of a different kind. An ocean of solar panels, 5.7 million of them. The size of this project is unfathomable. They're stretching to the hills behind me and the hills behind them and the hills behind them all the way to the horizon. But this isn't just about energy because these panels slow down the wind. And mind you, the wind here can be super strong. I mean, just look at the crazy hair. Hold in moisture and help grass grow back. Mr. Cricket, can I have an interview with you? I think I need to speak to his PR people. For the people here, it also means extra income, $280,000 according to estimates. Nearby farmers have worked on the construction of this industrial farm, are leasing their land to the project, and continue to raise animals under the panels. It's a model that allows the land to produce both power and pasture. I tell you, these sheep are very pricey. I've been following them the entirety of the morning, but they're just not cooperating and they don't want to be on camera, so they're always running away. But come back, come back.
Not only solar power defines a new energy revolution, we should not forget those giant wind turbines. To bring you closer to these towering machines, we sent two of her team's members, two brave young women, to climb all the way up.
China has invested big in wind energy. It has the largest wind farms in the world. I went to East China's Rudong County to see the largest offshore wind farm. I climbed to the top of a wind turbine, which is 100 meters high from sea level.
I am all dressed up and I'm about to go up. This is really tall. Wow. 高档了。
然后接着过前面。
There we go.
小一点。然后捡那一个，捡你后面的那一个。好。
谢谢。Oh my god! So I have this double hooks to make sure I'm safe. I'm standing here. It's about 100 meters high.
From wind to power, step one is catching the wind. That's where this large guy comes in. It's a wind turbine blade. It is 131 meters long with a root diameter of 5.2 meters. Wow, and it weighs 60 tons. Get this, it takes only 10 days for China to produce one of these blades.
To improve power generation efficiency and better adapt to the environment on the sea, offshore wind turbine blades are not only longer than those on land, but also need to be lighter, stronger, and lightning resistant. To ensure blades of this size can withstand real-world scenarios at sea, there's a crucial step before they can be mass-produced.
Whew. Wow, you don't see this every day. These blades are undergoing fatigue testing. Each new blade before mass production must undergo rigorous testing in such a large lab like this for like 6 to 10 months.
But also, as we are using more and more renewable energies, the human is also seeking the ultimate goal or the ultimate energy, which is nuclear. So what can you bring us?
Right. You've heard of the solar farms and Three Gorges Dam in China, but this country's nuclear game is also reaching new heights. The country has finalized designs for the fourth-generation reactors and successfully tested the Linglong 1, the world's first commercial small modular reactor. Meanwhile, on the artificial sun front, projects like the BEST and EAST are pushing the boundaries of fusion tech. Our HL3 tokamak has also hit the mark of 100 million degrees in temperature, putting China at the absolute cutting edge.
Well, thank you, Gonzha and Yushin, for both of your insight. As we come to the end of this year's journey through technology, one thing is clear. 2025 wasn't just about faster machines or bigger numbers. It was a year when AI learned to understand us better, when robots began to move, see, and interact like never before, when humanity pushed further into the sky and beyond, and when energy, cleaner, smarter, and more resilient, became the foundation of future growth. And that'll bring us to the end of this show. This was our year in technology, and the next chapter is just beginning. This is the Tech Review 2025. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Welcome to the world today, everyone. I'm Dong Shi, live in Beijing. Chinese President Xi Jinping's New Year address has highlighted China's achievements during the 14th five-year plan, which ended in 2025, and the country's aspirations for continued high-quality development. International observers say his message reflects China's determination and high regard for the people's well-being.
Le message du président Xi Jinping.
His New Year's speech was full of optimism and was also inspiring. China is moving forward. This is what President Xi wanted to emphasize. What strikes me most in China is that every year I return, I see new constructions, new projects completed in record time.
During the period of the 14th five-year plan, China became more confident in consolidating its position as one of the world's major economies and becoming the main face leading it. More importantly, China has focused on the quality of economic development, which President Xi and the Chinese government have emphasized.
In hearing President Xi's speech, what most impressed me was how much he covered within such a short space. From the dreams to Chinese modernization, high-quality development, new quality productive forces, science and technology, and innovation, you see the whole thing in an organized approach that defines President Xi's vision for the country.
The initiatives that President Xi calls upon the developed and developing countries have highly welcomed. Most African countries as well as China share their development wishes.
His New Year message mentioned achievements in China's development, including those in the economic field. The question is what the purpose of development is, and the answer is precisely the people's happiness. It's the most impressive paragraph in this New Year's address, and an important concept worth learning from in Europe.
The celebrations are being held across China to welcome the new year. As the clock struck midnight in Beijing on January the 1st, representatives from different sectors rang the 600-year-old Yongle bell. A synchronized drumbeat sounded at the Juyong Pass section of the Great Wall, which was illuminated by cutting-edge 3D technology. In northeast Jilin province, fireworks, musical fountains, and river cruises along the Songhua River bid farewell to 2025. In Gansu province, over 1,000 lanterns lit up the night, forming a shimmering stretch of light. Over in Shandong, people celebrated with games such as tug-of-war in the snow and snow tubing. Some Chinese people also chose to climb heights to convey their New Year wishes.
I live in Tai'an. I came to participate in this mountain climbing activity. Climbing Mount Tai on the first day of the new year carries the wish for national peace and people's well-being. I truly hope our country will keep thriving and getting better.
We've come all the way from Beijing, and we think it's really meaningful to climb a mountain on the first day of 2026.
On the first day of the new year, I wanted to come to the Oriental Pearl Tower to climb to the top, make some wishes, and hope my whole family stays healthy and my work goes smoothly.
China saw over 208 million cross-regional journeys on the first day of the New Year holiday, a 21% rise compared to last year. According to official figures, railway travel saw the largest jump with more than 18 million passenger trips, an increase of over 65% year-on-year. Rail operators expanded capacity on busy routes and introduced special tourist trains, while newly opened lines and stations offered more options. Road trips also grew by over 18%, reaching 187 million journeys. Civil aviation passenger trips rose by double digits to 1.95 million. At the same time, a growing number of international visitors traveled to China to celebrate New Year's Day.
I am from Melbourne, Australia, and I'm coming to Guangzhou and Shenzhen in China. I'm excited to see all the tall buildings, especially all the ones that light up, and experience a new culture in China.
The atmosphere is really nice. We feel very welcomed here. It's a very, very international vibe.
Switzerland is in mourning after a deadly fire tore through a bar in the resort town of Crans, Montana on New Year's Day. killing at least 40 people and injuring 115. Officials have confirmed the fire is not an attack. They're investigating the cause. They added identifying the victims may take time. Swiss President Guy Parmelin has ordered flags in the capital burn to fly half-mast for 5 days. Our Julia Hamilton reports from the scene.
Even hours after the tragedy broke out here in Crans-Montana, in southern Switzerland, there's still smell of burning on the streets here in the center of Crans-Montana. And in fact, this area where the fire broke out in Le Constellation Bar has been cordoned off by the police for the whole day while the investigation is going on. Local hospitals were already at full capacity, so people had to be taken to hospitals around the country, like to places like Geneva, Lausanne, and even to Milan. So indeed, this tragedy, the scale of it, it was huge. And this is what some of the people who were there, some witnesses, had to say about what happened.
A lot of people were screaming, trying to escape, and I saw a lot of people on the floor, and I think these people was dead.
Last night, I didn't sleep a second. I couldn't. I closed my eyes and everything kept coming back to me because I saw people being resuscitated. I saw people completely burned. I saw people dying. Honestly, it was quite complicated and quite difficult to stomach.
But the police saying that they are conducting the investigation to establish into what caused this fire before they can confirm exact details, especially those nationalities of those people who were there at that party. But now Crans-Montana is indeed a small community in mourning. This town is very small, only has a population of around 3,000 people, so everybody knows each other. And I've been speaking to people throughout the day, and they've been saying that they know either a friend or a friend of a friend who escaped from that bar. So indeed, this town has been very much affected by what's happened, and people have been coming to the scene to bring flowers and to light candles to pay tribute to the victims of this fire. Julia Hamilton, CGTN, Crans-Montana, Switzerland.
Police in Finland have detained a cargo ship and its crew of 14, including some Russians, for allegedly severing a communication cable in the Gulf of Finland. The detained vessel, flying the flag of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, was en route from St. Petersburg, Russia, to Haifa, Israel. Authorities have begun an investigation. The affected cable connects Helsinki with the Estonian capital of Tallinn. The Russian embassy in Finland says it has received notice about the detained Russian crew members. Israel has revoked the licenses of 37 international humanitarian organizations operating in Gaza and the West Bank. The move comes despite Palestine's objections and appeals from UN agencies and global aid groups. Israel's Ministry for Diaspora Affairs said the groups failed to submit required details of its Palestinian staff by Wednesday. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry condemned the move, calling it piracy and thuggery and a breach of international law. 19 UN agencies and major humanitarian groups appealed to Israel to lift its ban. They warned of devastating consequences for displaced Palestinians living through a harsh winter amid the rubble. Palestinians in Gaza are entering 2026 under the shadow of war, displacement, and loss. And many are clinging to hope amid the hardship for safety, recovery, and the chance to rebuild their lives. Nadra El-Tibi reports from Gaza.
For many displaced Palestinians, the new year is a moment of reflection rather than celebration, a pause to consider what has been lost and what might still be rebuilt. A young Palestinian chef who once owned a Chinese food restaurant in Gaza, the war destroyed both her restaurant and her home, forcing her into displacement. Still, she says the new year represents a chance to start again.
I hope 2026 will compensate me for all the losses I suffered during the years of war. I wish to rebuild my home, reopen my restaurant, and see my children return to school after being deprived of their most basic right to education. I hope our lives can return to what they once were.
Samah's story reflects the reality of thousands of families across Gaza, many of whom have spent the past few years living in temporary shelters. They wait for an end to displacement
and a chance to return home.
Our wish is to be free from wars and suffering and return to our homes instead of living in these tents. Winter is very hard on everyone.
Palestinians are looking forward to the next stage of the ceasefire as phase 1 comes to an end.